Greetings, it's Iain from RTO here. Welcome to another classic album review, and we continue our little Rockabilly month. And all these albums in this month of February are chosen by my friend Lee Mackenzie. Lee has a Facebook page that's sort of dedicated to the Johnny Walker Radio to Rock show. So go and check that out. There's lots of people who contribute to it and put bits in, including me. And if you go onto the page and you recognise the artwork, and you, yes, it was me. I do that for Lee as well. So go and check that out. And a lot of his people that are in that group do watch these videos as well. So we sort of help each other out. So this week he's gone for another great album, and that's Johnny Burnette and the Rock and Roll Trio. Now, Johnny Burnette, born John Joseph Burnette, March 25th, 1934, and sadly passed away in 1964. Great singer, songwriter of rockabilly and pop music. Johnny had a brother called Dorsey and a mutual friend called Paul Burleson, and they formed this rock and roll trio. But on the 14th of August 1964, Burnette's unlit fishing boat was struck by an unaware cabin cruiser in Clearwater, California. The impact sadly threw him off the boat and he drowned. Very sad. But Paul and Dorsey kept in touch. They were friends until sadly Dorsey passed away in 1979. But this album is very good, and also Johnny Burnette has a rockabilly singing song called Rocky Burnette. So there we go, kept the family tradition going. So let's have a look at this album. Now, Johnny Burnette and the Rock and Roll Trio was a debut album from 1956, fronted by Johnny Burnette, and it was recorded over 3 separate sessions, so there's different drummers, but you've got Dorsey Burnette on the bass fiddle, as it's called. Paul Burleson was the electric guitar, so the drummers featuring on this are Tony Austin, Eddie Gray, and Grady Martin does a little bit of guitar. Now, although they are a trio, Johnny Burnette played rhythm guitar on it, so 3 people. It was a great sound they got. So let's have a look at this album. So the first song on side 1 is called Honey Hush. Now, this is a big Joe Turner number, and it's a really good. What I like about this is Paul's guitar. It's got a certain tone. A rockabilly guitar had a great tone, and the other thing that's important about this is the bass fiddle. It's a very distinctive sound. It's a real rich dumba 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 sound, and that's on this, and it is great. Up next, Lonesome Train, and in brackets, on a lonesome track. Now, this is Glenn Moore and Milton Zabusky track. It's just one of them great simple tracks. A great vocal from Johnny, very good singer. That lovely tone on the double bass again, and the drumming. I don't know which one it is, but it just very, very simple. You don't need to be technical sometimes, and it just created a great sound. Up next is a Wayne Walker number called Sweet Love on My Mind. The guitar work on this is fantastic. Again, I'm sure it's Paul, but it sounds like his sort of style. It's got a lovely tone to it, and it's just a fantastic track. Then my favourite on here is one called Rockabilly Boogie. It's got a lovely rhythm guitar on that from Johnny. Then you got the lead from Paul, and that ba-dum ba-dum dum deep bass line, absolutely fantastic. Lonesome, Tears in My Hours. Some lovely guitar work here from both Johnny and Paul. The drumming is just great. Then we have a Fats Domino number called All By Myself. A little bit different to Fats Domino's version. It's a little bit more rockier, but it's a fantastic version. Then we have a track that we all have heard, Train Kept A-Rollin. Now we've heard Aerosmith's version of this, and we've heard Motorhead's version of this, but this is another real good track. It's just the drumming, it's literally done drumstick on the drum rims, and the guitar sound is great. It's a great track, and I do like the other versions I've heard as well. Then we have this wonderful ballad called I Just Found Out. As I said last week, rockabilly rock and roll ballads are fantastic. Very simple drum, a gentle guitar. Well, it's just really good. Then we have a classic, Your Baby Blue Eyes. It's just classic rockabilly, dominated by that double bass, the simple drumming, the plug-and-go guitars. Absolutely thing. And then we have a track called Chains of Love, which is Ahmet Nugri. Very good track. Some really lovely tones on this one. Then there's a song called I Love You So, written by Henry Jerome. I love this. It's just a wonderful little ballad. It's got a nice backing to it. Then we have my favourite title on this. It's called Drinking Round, Spo-Dee-O-Dee. It's written by Stick McGee and John Mayo Williams. A brilliant song written by Stick McGee. I love the guitar work at the beginning of this. It's just, thinking it's got a shuffle drum beat on it as well. It's just a fantastic song. And that was the last track. So I'll have a look about a bit of the history of this one, see what I came up with. Well, the first thing I've discovered that the 2008 Icons of Rock called the album an all-time rockabilly classic. It was actually released as a 10-inch LP in the UK. Then again in 12-inch later on. It's 1978. Solid Smoke released it as a reissue as well. In 1998, Go Cat Go Rockabilly Minute said its makers characterised the CD reschedule as well, so it's been reissued a few times. So what did Lee say about this? Now, Lee said this is one of the quintessential rockabilly albums. Although it was a trio, it was a unique trio because you'd got Johnny Burnette playing guitar on it. Another person that influenced some people, again, the great Jeff Beck was influenced by Johnny Burnette. And a more up to date person, Lee said, he's got a guy called Daryl Hyman who was very influenced by Johnny Burnett's music, which is great to hear when you got these younger rockabilly stars that look up to Johnny Burnette. I mean, Stray Cats, which we'll talk about in a few weeks' time as well. Another fact, and I know this is true, that Johnny Burnette was very popular with the Teddy movement here in the UK. Lots of Teddy boys loved Johnny Burnette, including my dad, because he was a Teddy boy, and my dad liked Johnny Burnette. That's true. And then he told me a little story about Train Kept A-Rollin. It's not about a train. It's about a young lady. It's a little bit of an innuendo song, which I didn't know actually. So there you go. All these years I've been listening to it, I thought it was about a train, and it's not. So Lee, you know, I love talking to Lee about Rockabilly because he's just an encyclopedia of Rockabilly. He knows more about Rockabilly than I ever do. But I love the music. Now, I think this is a very good album. It's an iconic album. I've heard it for years. It's just got, you know, the two brothers. You know, you got the great guitar and the double bass. The drumming on this is brilliant, and it's an album that has got a legacy. I mean, long after Johnny's death, it gained prominence thanks to Ringo Starr's version of "You're 16," and the song "Train Kept A-Rollin" is in the Rockabilly Hall of Fame. What can you say? Just another of those great albums. I mean, other people have covered them. You know, the Cramps have done "Tear It Up." It's just an amazing album. Even the Beatles have had a bash at some of the songs. And they say that the Ballad of John and Yoko is very influenced on Johnny Burnette. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. So there we go. We've had two great albums chosen by Lee. He's got another good one for next week. But that you'll find about that on Thursday. Okay, that's all for today, folks. I'll be back tomorrow. Well, we've actually got a viewer's request, and guess whose request it was? Lee's. Remember, he asked me to rank the albums of all the Rolling Stones and their solo, and we've come to the last member of the Rolling Stones tomorrow, and we're going to look at Mick Taylor. And guess what? By coincidence, the retro ranking tomorrow is another one that Lee asked me to do. Lee's getting too much airtime on my channel. We've got to stop that. And we're going to do the wonderful Gilbert O'Sullivan. So that's all tomorrow. I should just call it Lee's Day. But yeah, he's got a good taste in music anyway. So have a good day, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.